My name is Emily Davis, and this is the story of how I learned that love can be a lie and family a facade hiding deception. My husband, Jacob, was the man I entrusted with my heart, and his parents, Mary and Richard, seemed like a second family, always ready to support me. But during our wedding preparations, they concealed his affair, thinking I'd never uncover their secret. At our vow renewal ceremony 5 years later, I turned their celebration into my moment of liberation, exposing their lies in front of everyone. This is a tale of betrayal, revenge, and my rebirth. Settle in. It's going to be a long, emotional ride full of twists you won't see coming. I was born in Charleston, South Carolina, a city where magnolias bloom year-round, and the air carries the salt of the Atlantic Ocean. My home on King Street was modest, but filled with warmth. My father, a history teacher, shared tales of Charleston's old mansions and hidden stories, while my mother, a nurse, taught me compassion and honesty. They dreamed I'd find a love as sturdy as the oak trees draped with Spanish moss along the Battery. I grew up with that dream, picturing a wedding under magnolias with a man who'd be my home. 3 years ago, I met Jacob at Magnolia Cafe. I was reading a book when he ordered a coffee with 3 sugars, just like me. He smiled, and his sea-green eyes sparked something in me. Jacob was an architect at his father Richard's firm, dreaming of designing buildings that would reshape Charleston's skyline. "Emily," he'd say, holding my hand, "I'll build us a life you've always dreamed of." His confidence was contagious, and I fell hard. 2 years later, he proposed on Isle of Palms Beach. We stood on the pier, stars twinkling above, waves whispering of eternity. He knelt, pulled out a ring with a small diamond, and said, "Emily, will you be my wife?" I said, "Yes." Tears of joy streaming down my face, imagining our wedding. A white dress, magnolias, laughter. His parents, Mary and Richard, were thrilled. Mary, an elegant woman with perfect hair and a pearl smile, helped me pick a dress, flipping through catalogs at their Grand South Battery home. Richard, always in a crisp suit, offered to cover half the wedding costs. "You're our daughter now," Mary said, hugging me. I felt like part of their world, part of something big and beautiful. Our June wedding was a fairy tale. The ceremony was in a garden under magnolias, my dress flowed like a cloud, and a jazz quartet filled the air. Guests danced until midnight, and Jacob looked at me like I was his universe. I was happy, believing this was the start of a new life. But 5 years later, as we planned our vow renewal, I uncovered a truth that broke my heart. By our 5th anniversary, I noticed Jacob changing. He grew distant, staying late at work, blaming a big project, a shopping center meant to be his firm's crown jewel. His warm smile turned forced, like a mask. His touches became rare and cold. I chalked it up to stress, convincing myself things would improve. We decided to celebrate our anniversary by renewing our vows in the same magnolia garden where we married. Mary and Richard were ecstatic. "It'll be like a second wedding," Mary said, flipping through a flower catalog. "We'll make it unforgettable." I smiled, but a gnawing unease grew inside me. One day, a month before the ceremony, I found a receipt in Jacob's suit jacket from Moon and Tide, a downtown Charleston bar. It listed 2 drinks, martini and whiskey, dated for an evening he claimed he was at a client meeting. I tried to brush off my suspicions, but my gut screamed something was wrong. I recalled how he'd started checking his phone obsessively, closing his laptop when I entered the room, dodging questions about work. My heart tightened with fear, but I resolved to dig deeper. That night, while Jacob slept, I grabbed his phone. He hadn't changed his password since our first date. 03/15/2019. In his messages, I found a thread with someone labeled L. Meet me at Magnolia tomorrow, 8 p.m. Jacob. Can't. Emily's home. Friday works. L. You promised, Jake. Don't keep me waiting. My heart stopped. Who was L? I scrolled back and found messages from weeks before our wedding 5 years ago. Mary knows but won't tell. Richard said to keep it quiet. Laura, you have to understand it's for the family. Laura? Mary and Richard? His parents knew about a secret before our wedding? My blood ran cold. I copied the messages to my phone and lay back, sleepless, questions swirling. What were they hiding? And why? I decided not to confront Jacob. If he and his parents were hiding something, I wanted the full truth. I called my friend Sarah, an IT specialist skilled in digital investigations. We met at a King Street cafe, home to Charleston's best lemon pie. Nibbling a slice, I spilled everything. The receipt, the mail messages, me, suspicions. Sarah, I found texts. Jacob was cheating, and his parents knew. Can you help me dig deeper? Sarah set down her fork, her eyes narrowing. Emily, this is big. If you're sure, I can check his email, cloud, maybe old records. But are you ready for what you might find? It could change everything. I need the truth, I said, though my insides trembled. Even if it destroys me. Sarah hacked Jacob's cloud account using his old college password, a mix of his birthday and his dog's name. In his cloud, I found photos. Jacob with a blonde woman, all bright smiles, at moon and tide, on Isle of Palms Beach, in a hotel lobby on the city's outskirts. Some were taken a month before our wedding, others in our first year of marriage. The ground seemed to vanish beneath me, but there was more. I found an email from Mary, sent to Jacob a week before our wedding. I spoke to Laura. She'll stay out of it. Emily won't know. We're doing this for the family. Laura? Was that Elle? I also found an audio recording, a conversation between Jacob and Richard discussing how to keep Laura quiet. Richard's voice was cold and calculated. Emily's the right choice for the family. Laura's a mistake. We'll handle it. I clenched my fists, listening to them plan my life like I was a pawn in their game. Mary and Richard didn't just know about his affair. They orchestrated a cover-up to preserve their perfect family. I found more messages from Jacob to Laura after our wedding. I miss you. Emily's not like you. Maybe I made a mistake. My heart tore apart, but I held back tears. They all lied to me. Jacob, Mary, Richard. I wasn't a wife to them. I was part of their image. But I was going to change that. Sarah tracked down Laura via social media. Her name was Laura Bennett, an interior designer in Charleston's French Quarter. I messaged her, posing as an old friend of Jacob's, and asked to meet. We sat at Seabreeze Cafe on the waterfront, the ocean's scent mingling with fresh coffee. Laura was beautiful but weary, with shadows under her eyes and a nervous smile. I cut to the chase. Laura, I know you had an affair with Jacob before our wedding, I said, locking eyes with her. His parents knew and covered it up. I want the truth. She paled, her hands trembling, but she didn't deny it. I loved him. she said softly, twisting a napkin. "We dated for 2 years before he met you. He promised me a future, said we'd marry, but then he chose you. Mary and Richard came to my apartment. They said I didn't fit their plans, that you were the better match for their son. They paid me to leave." "Paid you?" I asked, my blood running cold. $10,000, Laura replied, looking down. I was young, scared, and needed the money. I took it and moved to Atlanta. But Jacob kept messaging me, even after your wedding. He said he missed me, that he made a mistake. I cut contact, but he wouldn't stop. Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to ruin your marriage. I clenched my fists under the table, fighting the urge to scream. Mary and Richard didn't just know. They bought Laura's silence to preserve their perfect facade. Jacob played both of us. I thanked Laura for her honesty and left, anger and pain battling within me. I wasn't their puppet. They'd all pay. Before planning my next move, I decided to talk to Jacob's sister, Caitlin. 5 years younger than him, she'd always treated me like a sister. We met at Battery Park, strolling under oaks draped with Spanish moss. The breeze swayed the branches as I searched for words. Caitlin, did you know Jacob was cheating on me before our wedding? I asked, gazing at the water. She froze, her eyes widening. I heard rumors, she admitted, fidgeting with her bracelet. Mom said it wasn't my business, that it was handled. Emily, I didn't want to hurt you. I thought it was in the past. It's not in the past, I said, keeping my voice steady. They hid it from me. All 3 of them. And they're still lying. Caitlin paled, tears welling up. I didn't know they kept it from you. Mom always said she was protecting the family. Emily, what are you going to do? Come to the vow renewal? I said. You'll see. Caitlin nodded, hugging me. I'll be there. And I'm sorry, Emily. I should have told you. Her words stung, but I knew she was under Mary and Richard's influence. Sarah also uncovered that Mary and Richard meddled in Jacob's firm to boost his career, even covering his mistakes. They saw him as their golden boy, meant to uphold their reputation in Charleston society. I found messages between Jacob and his colleague Matthew discussing how Richard used connections to fix Jacob's project failures. It explained his confidence despite his slip-ups. Mary and Richard weren't just hiding his affair, they were building him an empire of lies. Sarah also found Mary's cloud diary, where she wrote that Emily is perfect for the family's image, and Laura was an unsuitable match. They chose me, not out of love, but because I fit their vision of a proper daughter-in-law, a teacher's and nurse's daughter with a spotless reputation. It was a knife to the heart. I was a tool, not a wife. I decided the vow renewal would be my moment, not their celebration, but my triumph. Sarah and I gathered every piece of evidence. Jacob's texts with Laura, Mary's email, the $10,000 bank transfer, Richard's audio, Mary's diary entries. I also found old photos of Jacob and Laura at a restaurant we frequented early in our marriage. A slap in the face, knowing he took me there after betraying me in the same place. I contacted the ceremony planner, Jane, a kind woman with warm eyes, and asked to add a projector for a special surprise. Thinking it was a wedding photo slideshow, Jane agreed eagerly. I invited Laura to the ceremony, messaging her, I want you to see me close this chapter. Please come. She replied, I'll be there. I'm sorry, Emily. Her remorse felt genuine, fueling my resolve. I invited Jacob's colleagues, family friends, and Tom Harper, a journalist for the Charleston Post who covered society events. If I was going to shatter their facade, I wanted it public. I also met Matthew, Jacob's colleague, under the guise of planning a gift. At a Market Street cafe, he said, "Jacob always gets away with everything. Richard's got his back even when he botches projects." I nodded, hiding my fury. Matthew got an invite too. I hired a lawyer to draft divorce papers, ensuring I was ready for anything. My plan was clear: expose their lies, announce the divorce, and walk away with my head high. I didn't just want revenge. I wanted freedom. The vow renewal was held in the same magnolia garden where we married 5 years ago. The air was thick with the scent of flowers, and the evening sun gilded the leaves. About 50 guests filled the space. Family, friends, Jacob's colleagues, Laura, Matthew, Tom Harper. I wore a flowing white dress, like on my wedding day, but inside, I was burning. Jacob stood beside me, smiling like everything was perfect. Mary and Richard beamed, accepting compliments for their planning. They thought this was their triumph. When it was time for the vows, I took the microphone. My heart pounded, but my voice was steady. "Friends, family," I began, forcing a smile. "We're here to renew our promises. But first, I have something to share." I turned on the projector, and the screen lit up with Jacob's texts to Laura, Mary's email, the $10,000 transfer, snippets of her diary. Gasps rippled through the crowd. "Jacob cheated on me before our wedding," I said, staring into his eyes. "With Laura Bennett. Mary and Richard knew and covered it up. They paid her $10,000 to disappear, all for their perfect family." Jacob went pale, his eyes wide. "Emily, it's not true. It's fake," he shouted, his voice shaking with panic. "Then listen to this," I said, playing the audio. Richard's voice rang out. "Emily's the right choice. Laura's a mistake. We'll handle it." Guests froze, some covering their mouths. I saw Mary clutch Richard's arm, her face ashen. I turned to Mary and Richard. "You thought I'd never find out? You lied to me, manipulated me, Laura, everyone, to protect your image." Then I faced Jacob. "I rewrote our vows, Jacob. Here's mine. I'm free of you." I pulled out the divorce papers I'd prepared and set them before him. "Sign them. Now." Guests whispered. Tom Harper snapped photos, his camera clicking in the silence. Mary sobbed, hiding her face, while Richard tried to speak, but I cut him off. "Your lies destroyed your family, not mine." Laura stood and left, her shoulders shaking, but she didn't look back. Caitlin hugged me, whispering, "You did the right thing, Emily." Matthew, Jacob's colleague, glared at him. "You went too far, Jake," he said quietly, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Guests began to leave, murmuring about the scandal that rocked their small world. After that night, Jacob and his parents' lives unraveled. Tom Harper published a Charleston Post article titled "Vow Renewal Scandal, Family Secrets Exposed." Mary and Richard's reputation in Charleston society crumbled. Their firm lost major clients as rumors of Richard's shady dealings spread. Jacob signed the divorce papers under family pressure, and I received half our assets, including his firm bonuses. I moved to a new apartment downtown, overlooking the harbor and Ravenel Bridge. My marketing career soared. I used the divorce settlement to launch my own agency, specializing in promoting local businesses. My first project, with a King Street restaurant, was a hit, bringing in new clients. Caitlin stayed my friend, and we often met at Magnolia Cafe for coffee, laughing about how I rewrote the vows. She cut ties with her parents, unable to forgive their lies. Jacob tried to reach me, sending long apology letters and voicemails. "Emily, I was an idiot. I didn't mean to hurt you. Give me a chance." His words rang hollow. He and his parents stole 5 years of my life with their lies, but they couldn't take my strength. I deleted his messages and blocked his number, deciding he was no longer part of my story. Months after the ceremony, I felt freer. My agency thrived, and I hired 2 employees to handle the client influx. I started a blog, sharing my story to inspire other women to stand up and refuse manipulation. My posts gained thousands of views, and I received letters from women across Charleston thanking me for my courage. I often walked along Isle of Palms Beach, where Jacob proposed. It no longer hurt. It reminded me how far I'd come. Standing on the shore, listening to the waves, I felt the wind carry away the last of my past. I learned to value myself, my dreams, my strength. Mary, Richard, and Jacob thought they could control my life, but I proved them wrong. A year has passed. My agency is one of Charleston's best, and I'm writing a book about my journey, betrayal, revenge, and rebirth, titled Rewritten Vows. A publisher has already shown interest. My life is mine now, and I never look back. Sometimes I think of Jacob, not with pain, but with relief. I escaped a life built on lies. I often return to Isle of Palms, standing on the pier where it all began, watching the stars. They remind me I'm stronger than I knew. Maybe one day I'll love again. But now I know. True love starts with self-respect. As I move forward, I carry my new vow to live for myself, freely and fearlessly. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.